Wait, are we going?
Oh, you're on.
Oh, we're on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Atomic Mass Transmissions Live. Today, we're doing the final check-in of our Worthy entry. We've been working on it here and there. Had a couple blogs. Ooh. Wow. Shook my socks off.
That's how you know it's alive.
It's how you know it's live. I got a little dust in my nose. We're checking in on it and seeing where we're at. We can talk philosophically about how I got here. We can talk philosophically about judging. We can talk about what it means to paint a tabletop miniature versus a competition miniature. We can talk about, entropy and what it would be like to float through the endless galaxy into a black hole. Whatever you really want to talk about. So, anyways, we have lots of people. We had BK yesterday, and today we have Anne, who's typically seen behind the scenes, like when you see on the chat where it says Atomic Mass Games. Typically, that's Anne. And Anne is in the studio today, which is perfect day. It's International Women's Day, right? Woo! Woo! I've been listening to Riot Girl music all morning. Yeah, I'm a well-versed human being, diverse and eclectic taste in music. Thank you very much. All right, we should probably paint. We've goofed off enough. Kick it over to the minicamp summer. We're gonna talk about where we're at, how we got here, what we're doing, and such. So as you can see, I've come a long way since the last time we've had this piece on stream. We've done a blog update, 2 blog updates, I think, right? Mm-hmm. I think. And I can't remember. I can't keep track. I don't even know what releases were this month. I know I worked on them 2 years ago. So this is kind of where I'm at. We've got our rooftop. We've got our antenna. I went ahead and painted some little green goopy oozy stuff coming out of this barrel. Kind of wanted to have a conversation or story about maybe that's why Spider-Man and Green Goblin are fighting, right? Maybe Green Goblin was planning on doing something terrible, and this Spider-Man's like, whoa, what's this barrel? And Goblin's like, Spidey, you're onto my traps, something like that. Spider-Man is dodging an explosion from a thrown pumpkin bomb and getting ready to thwip right back at the Goblin. And I really thought it'd be fun and something different. You see a lot of backdrops for miniature painting competitions and display type miniatures. And I want to do something a little different. And I had several conversations with people, and I really like getting feedback and input as I work through these philosophies and ideas. And I love the idea of cocking these panels slightly to kind of create a little more invitation to move around the piece instead of pursuing it straight on. A lot of times artists will try to create a limited viewing angle, and I wanted to really lean into these are 3-dimensional objects floating in 3-dimensional space. We play with these 3-dimensional miniatures, and that's what the hobby is all about. So really wanted to bring in more 3-dimensionality to it. So I'm kind of trying to invite the viewer to come in, maybe start on this side, work our way across, rotate. And then I thought it was fun to just make an entire smoke trail to really just be ridiculous. There's an entire smoke trail for Green Goblin going from one side to the other, kitty cornered from one side to the other, just to help tell the story. So thought that was a lot of fun. And we're going to paint on that today while we discuss stuff. Originally I thought about painting buildings in the backdrop of this panel, and what I came to the conclusion of once I kind of set it on there, I did the clouds first, and got it sort of mocked up. I didn't want to overcomplicate the scene. The antenna, the explosion, the Spider-Man, the barrel, the smoke trail, the goblin. I felt like the buildings would just become too congested in the storytelling. It adds a lot of heavy weight to that panel as well, and I wanted that panel to feel open and inviting. I wanted to feel light, airy, elevated. I wanted to make sure that you felt like you were high above the skyline of New York. So I left the buildings off, and I think it was the right call. And then this one, I just really, man, that purple and orange scheme of Goblin. Bringing it back, I got orange here, I got orange down here, so I'm drawing the eye. I'm just gonna ramble about all this for a little bit. So I apologize if I don't paint that much. But the idea here was this panel's a little not square. These two panels are very square. This panel's a little askew. And I like that because it's just enough for your mind to catch it, and just to remember that the goblin has a skewed vision of the world. He's a little mad. He's a little unhinged. And I wanted to bring that in there. And I think the red and the spackle effect, and then of course the action lines I've seen in many comics from all over the world, bringing in those action lines to kind of emphasize he is zooming at Spider-Man with anger, ferocity, and one might say blind obsession. I got a lot of little details in here too. Spent a lot of time like researching and looking at electrical boxes. Kind of came up with my own like company logo. I got the little danger electricity symbol painted on there. Lots of little things to like draw the eye and give yourself something to look at. I got a little code here. It says 64AS14-1. If anybody can tell me what that means. And then of course the hand sculpted spiderweb and camera, because of course J. Jonah Jameson needs pictures of Spider-Man, and Peter Parker needs to pay his rent this month. So fortunately that's a symbiotic relationship, not to use the word too loosely there. Hey, Spider-Man, symbiote venoms. But nice little tie back and a little storytelling device. Yeah, probably we need a little pigeon stuff going on as we detail this thing out. I got a couple more ideas. Every good comic panel, I really wanted to bring in that comic panel feel. I'll explain what the wire is, or what the smoke trail is here in a little bit. It's actually a really fun technique, so I'll go over that here in a little bit. But I really want to lean into the comic bookness of it, so I've cut out a couple pieces of plastic card, one that won't stay on my wine cork. So we'll just kind of stick it on the wood dowel. Maybe it'll stick. Hey, these are going to be some word panels. I'm not the best letterer, but I'm going to give it a try. Probably on a Sunday as I'm sitting around in my jammies and really able to concentrate, not maybe so much live with everybody watching me try to hand letter something, because like I'm not a letterer, but I will do my best. I think the big long one will be placed on the back, probably down low, and it's going to have the title of the piece, which I'm currently calling Rooftop Rumble. I love a good alliteration, don't we all? And then the other one, I'm thinking something, I'm going to get with Josh, our art director, Josh Cologne, and work with him and come up with an idea, because I'm not sold. I have like maybe 5 what I kind of feel could be phrases for that panel, and I want to put it up here at the top on the blue central panel, high above New York, meanwhile above the city, the skyline of New York, meanwhile ... something like that. I'm not 100% positive where that one will say, but I really think that the piece wants that panel. I originally primed these and painted them yellow. in retrospect, like, because I was currently looking at some comics books from the 1980s. A lot of times the comic panels are yellow in those, the little word panels. I'm not sure the yellow is the right choice for this piece. Just compositionally, I might switch them to white. I'm not 100% positive on that. If you have an opinion, what you think, by all means, shoot it up in that chat. Let me know what you think. The smoke trail. The smoke trail was probably the hardest part to construct. It is floral wire, and I could not attach this until the panels were on. But I couldn't put the panels on until Spider-Man was on. But I couldn't put Spider-Man on until Goblin was on. But I couldn't put Goblin on until the smoke trail was attached. So I kind of got in a like nasty little circle with myself of I have all these parts and components. I have the plinth, I have the Spider-Man, I have 2 panels, and I have a smoke cloud. And each of them needs the other to work. So honestly, it was a whole lot of guesswork and a whole lot of estimation of what I think is correct. I did a lot of math here. Math is a very loose terminology for Dallas. I'm not a mathematician. So there's a lot of guesswork and got this sculpted. I made a key for the Spider-Man leg and had Spider-Man pretty set, which means I was able to get this panel put where I wanted it. Then I had to just go ahead and construct the smoke cloud, and I actually sculpted way more than I needed, probably about an extra 3 inches more than I needed, just to make sure. And it's not very flexible because once I had it, it was kind of there. So a lot of blue tack was used to hold these panels in place and sort of get where the anchor points would be. So this is floral wire. And then I wrapped it in sculpting putty, like traditional sculpting putty. Let that cure. And then I used expanding foam. Expanding foam is an insulator. It comes in a can. You spray it in like cracks in your houses. It comes out like very thin, liquidy, and then it expands very quickly, filling up gaps and surfaces. Now, of course, that stuff expands like 500%, whatever. The trick is you put it in a cup and you whip it, just like if you're wearing a plastic flower pot hat. And you beat it down, and then it loses like 80% of its expandability, but it still expands too much. So you whip it again, let set, let expand. If you whip it too far, you can't work with it. If you whip it too little, you will get giant smoke. So it's a learning process. If it's something you want to try, you should test it, not on something that is important. Test it out a few times, get the viscosity right, and get the understanding of how it works. And then I just used literally like a popsicle stick that I split in half and wrapped it around and kind of like gooped it up and then stretched it here and there, and it just expanded just ever so slightly. And then I had to wait for that to cure, and then I went in with more putty, filled in the gaps, gave it a little more life, a little more texture, a little more smoothing out here and there. I had to wait for that to cure. Then I got it all together. I used a little bit of glue to tack it all together. Got Goblin where I wanted him. Waited for that to cure. And that came with more putty and added smoke around the panels to create like little grips. You can see like this is like kind of gripping that panel with the putty. Very smooth transitions, so it's very secure. That's not going anywhere, but also it gives it that like panel break and allows the story to kind of be busting out of the comic book panels even more so than the 3-dimensionality. So it was a lot of process, a lot of steps, a lot of short bursts of work, and then long periods of letting it cure and rest and hoping that everything lined up. And sometimes in these kind of projects, you are kind of working with your gut and your instinct and hoping it lines up. And then last little minute details always come in. Like I had a little bit of extra putty at the very, very end. So I added this little bit of smoke right there. Just a little wisp of smoke. Like it's like come along and just grab the edge of the plinth and it's pulling away along with the smoke cloud. Don't know if I particularly like it. I thought it was a fun idea, but you know, whatever. That's where we're at. That's the TLDR for 20 minutes. That's my 20-minute TLDR because why not? Let's just philosophize for 20 minutes and talk about composition and how long it takes to construct something. What do we got? Oh yeah, Lancelot just said, it looks like expanding foam over a heavy wire. Lancelot nailed it. I'm going to start painting my smoke. So I've primed this by hand. I really hate priming by hand. I really do. I'm going to be real honest, but I had to. I also am very lazy and I didn't want to tape all this off. So I didn't tape it off. I just, primed it by hand. Mixed a little off-white paint and a little bit of white airbrush primer and did 4 coats to get a solid, even coat. The expanding foam especially kind of wants to like peel away from the upper surfaces. It doesn't want paint to stick to it if you're just kind of like slopping on some thin primer. So I had to do a couple coats to get stuck on there. But now we can actually paint. Paint our exhaust cloud from Green Goblin. This is going to take way longer than today. This is going to be a process because this is going to be a whole lot of something happening to make this look right. But I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to go inner surface it. I'm going to focus on the end here. I want this to be hot. And then where the clouds are not poofy, I want to paint some yellow because I want the heat to be on the inside. Like it's just some warm heat on the inside of the smoke trail as it billows and roils and is alive. We want that's going to end up turning gray and black on the outer surfaces. But I first need that little bit of yellow in there. And I'm going to take this down further and then you're probably going to see the yellow because it's always good to have a little color hidden in there anyways. Because obviously it would not be this hot way back here. But, you know, we're exaggerating stuff. It's comic books. It doesn't have to follow logic. Last thing I want in my comic book is logic. Ugh. Maybe just a little bit more. That's good enough. A little bit of yellow. Just start bringing in some heat in the exhaust in there. Make a little wash here. 2 weeks to Adepticon. I'm out of time. Don't remind me of that. Rude. I'm already worried. So we're going to use a wash now to punch that up even further. So if you have any more questions about composition, philosophy of construction, or anything, by all means, please ask. You got 2 weeks. What are you working on? Like, what are you working on to win the Worthy? Or not just necessarily win. Worthy's not necessarily for winning. It's about growth, development. It's about pushing and growing. Painting competitions was kind of key in my career and like pursuing an actual studio job. So that's always something to think about. It's like, do you want to paint miniatures for Atomic Mass Games? Show me what you got at the Worthy. just fade away. My growth is winning. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, player. I'm going to go to some gray. Start working some gray down here. We're going to use grays. We're going to use blacks. We're probably going to slide a little blue in there from time to time. We're going to use some off-whites and whites and yellows and oranges. And we're going to try to make the dopest looking smoke cloud. Oh man, do I want a little orange down here? You know what? I think I do. So philosophically, 3 points of eye contact is super good. I kind of have it. Do I want that there? Because it creates a third triangle. So orange, orange, orange creates a triangle. There's a little bit of orange coming from behind. Do I want a little orange over here? I feel like I want just a kiss. We're going to sneak this little bit of orange in here just to bring some color on the back side of this panel. Creates a nice wide U shape. Okay, good enough. Almost too much. I want it to be subtle. I want it to be sneaky. I really love it when Goblin's smoke trail goes black. You're going to get a painting competition piece done from scratch in 2 weeks. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, the quickest I ever painted a competition piece is 3 days. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Hello, Raiders. Explosion Spidey is leaping off is amazing. I have my rival Spidey primed and ready to go, but I'm terrified of that explosion. Ninja, you know what? We have a couple of live streams where we kind of go over the philosophy of painting explosions. And you know what? I tell you what, Summer had a great idea yesterday. Can I tell them your great idea, Summer? Is that okay? Is it too much of a teaser? It's not. Okay, great. Summer came up and was just like, we get a lot of people commenting about explosions and fire, and what if you did a whole series of explosions and fire? And I was like, that's a good idea. And I think we're going to do maybe some like how to paint a regular explosion, how to paint a green chemical explosion, how to paint like purple fire. So if that's what you're interested in, by all means, let us know here in the chat and be like, yes, we would love that. Yep, everybody said it. See? They all love it. I can see into the future like Heimdall. A lot of explosion stuff. I mean, I'm kind of doing it right here, so I'm getting a little orange in there, a little yellow. And then I like it when the explosions go kind of black toward the what I call the bubble. So I'm going to use a lot of wet blend, a lot of just stipple, a lot of just what I call paint smash, and just kind of let the paint hit and slap where it lies. Just we're going to define and refine and just get it where we like it. It can be loose. It doesn't need to be perfect. It can be very expressive. In miniature, the more expressive your special effects are, the better, because you have a three-dimensional piece. So this is like very interesting for miniatures. Like, a lot of 2D poses for like comic books don't quite work in 3D. And a lot of it's because of just the way action works once you get something in the three-dimensional space. We want to make sure you can feel the action and the intent of the character. So a lot of times that means we're trying to capture something that is sort of uncapturable, right? We're trying to create the action and the lines of said action where it's really kind of impossible. So with explosions and effects and stuff like that, you kind of want to like oversell it and make it not as realistic, because then the mind will fill in the gaps and like let you read it as it is in motion. So less motion is kind of a little bit better. And you know, you can discuss philosophically, like, well, in this instance, yes, in this instance, but I'm not about whataboutisms. Non-metallic metal on small objects like storms bracelets. Sure. I'm sure we could do some N&M. I typically don't use a lot of it, but that's not saying we can't do it. I like to use the philosophies of non-metallic metals with true metallic metals, because boy, oh boy, that is how you make some lovely, lovely metals. Greg Webster, what up? I know Greg. Oh, somebody asked yesterday who the judges for the Worthy are. Should we tell, or did we want to tell them who the judges are? Am I getting a thumbs up? I'm getting a thumbs up for our producer Ann. Getting a thumbs up. Do you want to know who the judges are for the Worthy Adepticon 2023? I want to know. Was somebody tell me? I'm joking. Who wants to know? I'd love to see more types of smoking explosions. Yeah, I would love to do, like I said, I think doing some green explosions to represent like some chemicals. Purple fire is always fun. And we've done those here and there, but I think we could do like a little collected quick series where like maybe every month we cover one or something like that. Whatever Summer and Ann kind of decide here. I'm game for it. All right, so judges for the Worthy this year is me. I'm one. Huh? Surprise. Me. It's me. Dallas with a hat and Dallas with a fake mustache. First off, yes, that'd be amazing. I would love to clone myself. That'd be wonderful. We have one Elizabeth Beckley. If you don't know Elizabeth, wonderful painter, wonderful person. And Elizabeth has actually done a little studio painting for us on some stuff that you might see tomorrow. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then last but not least, the only one, Mr. Ben Comets. Ben is a fabulous painter, all around super guy, and excellent teacher. So super excited to have both Elizabeth. Did you see that mess up? Both Elizabeth and Ben joining us in the judging booth to go over all the worthy entries. Man, our neighbors are loud today. Am I the only one that can hear that? I am, right? Yeah. Look at color on this. It's funny because I was just like, no color on the back of this. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of love the actual color back here now that you can't see because I've turned the piece around because I'm a fool. I want this super thin. I don't want this super punchy. I just want like little. This is part of the process. Like sometimes you just change your mind mid-process and you're just like, you know what? I just kind of love it. And I'm going to let it happen. Daz, what if you did some pointillation dots on the background? You know what? I did a bunch of research trying to figure out how to do the Ben-Day dots on my piece. If you're not familiar with Ben-Day dots, they are classic illustration and comic book technique where you use little tiny dots of color to create shade and texture. Outside of just straight up painting them on one by hand, I could not find a way to easily and efficiently produce the Ben-Day dots on my piece here. And given the timeline and of being able to work on this, I just kind of removed it from the idea. It just became something that I would like to do on a future project, and just could not find the time to get it done on this one. And it's unfortunate because I really do think Ben-Day dots would really bring a lot to the piece overall. I'm out of time on that. It would take a lot to be able to pull off hand painted, because those were never hand painted. Those are a product of print. Somebody's gonna be like, well, actually, like in 1977, like this artist did all the hand painted Ben-Day dots, and be like, great, good for that guy. I'm not going to do it. I think it would be kind of interesting to add a little texture, but just Kirby crackle. I mean, just a crackle right across the sky. I'm not sure that's going to tell my story. Thanos is just rolling around in a spaceship. Spider-Man, Green Goblin's fighting, and Thanos is just like zap, and he misses. Maybe we could do some Kirby crackle on the back. Man, I'm a sucker for Kirby crackle. Oh, a little Surratt. Sure. No. I'm out of time. You're killing me because I want to do it. I do. Sound effects. Could do a big berzap, or no, not berzap. That's not part of this story at all. What sound effect? Should I write thwip or Mary Jane? I don't know. Give me an idea. You're not art directing. Chat. I'm just doodling. I'm literally just mashing paint into itself, sort of wet blending into what I feel emotionally. Feels like Smoky Smokes. Tiny thwip behind Spidey. Kaboom. I do love a good onomatopoeia, so, you know. I thought about putting tiny spider sense lines behind Spider-Man, but And that was kind of in the original plan, but the more I sort of worked on the piece, the more I realized it wasn't working. As you move the piece around, you sort of lose where Spider-Man's head is, so they don't always line up. And I thought that was too disjointed for the story, which is unfortunate because I do love the idea of Spider-Man having the little squiggles above his head, like, to represent he knows the pumpkin bomb was coming, and that's why he's dodged out of it, and that's why there's an actual explosion exploding on the radio antenna and not hitting Spider-Man, because he's Spider-Man. He's the hero. He's doing cool stuff. On the back, the Watcher peeking in would make Kirby Crackle fade in. A speech bubble. Die Spider-Man. Whoa, that's very aggressive. So aggressive. I can't say that. Makes me feel bad. I got you now, Spider-Man. Can you do what a spider can? Never seen a spider can, but I've seen a spider jar. No? Just blending it all out. Getting some of that gray and black, just sort of, I think the further away, the more black we're going to get in that smoke. It's probably too black. I want that dark oiliness in the smoke. We're just going to keep working it. We have the word panel too that we talked about. I don't have words for that yet. Does anybody have ideas for that? As we discussed, like I said, meanwhile downtown, somewhere above the city. Like what sounds like? What sounds like a comic book? Like if you're opening up page number 1, right? It's just like somewhere above the city. I'm just gonna keep working. I keep working. Got the whole underside to paint too. Boo. Summer. Go tell the neighbors to shush. There you go. So I like where Seeker's going. Thursday, 8 a.m. 3 minutes before first period. Be really esoteric and just put a random city like on there. Just instead of New York, it's like Cleveland. Why is Spider-Man in Cleveland? Can the Spider-Man come out and play? I like that one. We discussed Night of the Goblin, but I painted the thing daylight, so it didn't really make sense to call it Night of the Goblin. I like A Long Time That Came the Goblin. I don't have that big of a word bubble. My word bubble's so tiny. I can make a new word bubble. If you convince me of a good one, I'll make a new word bubble. I don't think anyone's won yet. What else we got here? So see, I like that little bit of yellow back in that corner now, right here. It's nice. They Will Hate You. That's pretty good. Is that Anne? Huh?
That's a summer.
That's Summer?
Yeah. The summer sleigh.
Summer Sleigh. Love it. This is the relaxing part of paint, is just like smashing paint, just wet blending, just being like, nothing matters until the very, very end. I don't think I have the guts to pull off the great responsibility line. I don't. I'm going to reserve that. It's too much responsibility, one might say. Now we can get a little more watercolory. I'm going to spend more time on the back of this smoke cloud than I probably should. I'm going to start smashing in some lines, dots, scribbles, smushes, just sort of building up. A little off-white and white mixed together, a little touch of yellow in there, here and there. We're going to keep smushing paint. What else we got? No questions? Everybody's just like hanging out and just watching the paint. Kind of leaning toward Thursday, 7 a.m. New York. Ten minutes before first period. Or it could just say, gotta get to science class. Need a little more gray in there. Don't tell me what you're working on, though. If you say you're working on entry, don't tell me. I want to be surprised. Oh, Seeker. The more layers of textures you can get into smoke, the better, because you want that roiling emotion and sort of life and action. So I try to go very, very slow, building up the colors and the layers and the depth. And, you know, it's kind of like you paint a color and then you kind of lose it and then you bring it back a little bit. And then you just keep adding and subtracting. And it's all building and growing into this organic, very impressionistic version of the smoke trail. I like the we are who we choose to be. Now I want to do a Miles Leap of Faith piece. It's a leap of faith. I really think you could do some really amazing pieces with Miles. There's currently nothing announced for UK. Doesn't mean it won't happen in the future, but currently nothing announced. But if you're interested in all the latest news, information, and announcements coming from Talking Mass Games and all of its endeavors and wonderful games, you should check us out on Twitter and or Instagram. Smash that like button. Ring that bell. Boo. We're painting. No more black smoke. Here and there. Got a little funky transition on the bottom side. I'll have to clean up as we go. Social. My first memory of Spider-Man. Whoa. Oh man, it's got to be probably from the newspapers funnies. Like way back, Spider-Man was in the newspapers, like on the Sunday comics. And then my Granny got me a couple Spider-Man comics I found in some random bin she had. I definitely remember checking out the latest doings of Spider-Man in the Sunday funnies before I knew a comic book was a comic book. Now I know what a comic book is, and oh man, so somebody's got a problem. It's me. Just the tiniest touch of yellow at the end of this smoke cloud, I think. All right, how's it looking so far? Not bad, not bad. Still got a lot to do, but the general gist is there. You can see here, like, can you see that line right there? Can everybody see that line? You can get rid of those, right? Because this goes back to like creating those layers and transitions by just starting to build over top of that. Maybe a little more yellow. Just keep working the wet paint over top of one another to get the transitions you want. I'm going to bring more white up here. And you got anything you want me to say in the last 5 minutes? Any news, information, or tidbits? Tell me the dates, because I don't remember things like that. What's the dates for Adepticon? Oh, will there be social stuff for people not attending Adepticon to check out the goings on of AMG at Adepticon?
There will be. Do you want me to open this door and shout it at
You should shout it.
you? Okay.
Here comes Ann.
Hey guys, make sure that you are following Adepticon's socials because they will be posting about the official streamers covering every single one of our game lines. We're really excited to be working with them to bring you coverage of the event, even if you cannot attend. And we're working with them to make sure that they can give you full coverage of all of the Worlds events and all of the MCP game events, our panel, and of course, the Worthy.
And the Worthy will be Wednesday? No.
Whoa, no. Sorry, I was like, oh God. No, so the show is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
You will be able to submit all entries for the Worthy Thursday and Friday and Saturday, I believe. However, judging is taking place on Saturday evening, so that's your cutoff at the end of show, and then we will have, I believe, don't hold me to this, but at 11 a.m. on Sunday, that should be our award ceremony time, and there is going to be a post with all of this information going live obviously within the next 2 weeks, but hopefully closer to the next week. So you'll have it all in one place for a one-stop shop for Q&A.
And I'm sure we'll have like we'll have a photographer on site.
Yeah, we're
showing
going to be
some
taking pictures
social
of
media.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pictures
So
of everything.
When we say it's a celebration of everything you guys bring to the community, we mean it, and we intend to celebrate with you.
Yeah, we're.
There is a Shatterpoint Demos article that just went live this morning, which I wanted to get out there for y'all because we have been planning these demos as a studio for a really long time, and
Really?
I want to give you your best shot. We want to give you your best shot to understand how that process works so you can make the best use of your time.
Yeah, and there's 4 demo tables for that, right?
There's 4 demo tables. Signups will open up every morning. Again, if you check out the article, it'll give you all the specifics because I don't want to misspeak now and then eat our words later. So make sure you check out our socials, which were just linked in chat, and it should link you to the article with all the info.
Yeah, so get ready, March 22nd.
23rd to the 26th, I believe.
23rd to the 26th.
Yeah,
Check us out on the social medias. Follow and see what all the happenings are, what you're missing out, what you shouldn't be missing out. You should just go to Adepticon, honestly.
Sure.
We'll be there and covering the show and all the goings on and the Worthy. And there'll be I'm sure there'll be a whole article of the Worthy after Adepticon.
Yes, we have a lot of plans to cover things afterwards, and we're hoping to sit down and ask some questions to our mighty and worthy placers so that we can get some insight into their process and what they created and share that with all of you because we've had so much fun chatting with Dallas about his process. And if you're curious about, catching up with how this piece came to be, you should check out the transmissions on the site because Dallas has been doing blog updates and we've been uploading the VODs there so people can really see how this all came together and imagine how they might aspire to take on a project like
Yeah, come do better than me. That's the challenge. Come do better than me. Thank you, Ann.
No problem.
There you go, kids. Okay, look at that. 2 o'clock. I nailed it. Worthy ceremony is Sunday, 11 a.m. That's perfect. Doesn't overlap with other events. We do what we can, player. We do what we can. We try our best. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm just going to keep working it. I think the final touches are still my word panels, which we still don't have words for. Maybe some pigeon residue. Finish the plinth or the smoke and then paint the plinth jet black. I want that nice, sleek jet black plinth to really make the comic panels hum and sing. And also it just makes it more tight and sleek for presentation. And then probably I'll have to throw another layer of black on the back here because I got some paint dots. But I'm so close to done. I've got 2 weeks. I think I'm going to finish. I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish. Feeling pretty confident at this stage. So I think that's it for today. As Ann said, check us out on the social medias during Adepticon, and you can find out all about the going ons of Adepticon and everything we're up to, because I'm sure we're going to be up to no good. And then for all the latest news, information, announcements, remember check us out on Twitter and/or Instagram. That's where BK and Summer post stuff, like articles and things, and it's always fun. So until next time, until next week, we'll catch you later. Go be the hero you want to be. We'll talk to you later. Bye.